Have you ever had one of those quiet moments, when you're alone, the room is still, and you suddenly notice your body reacting a little differently than it used to during intimacy? Maybe not dramatically, just small things. A little more sensitivity in places that were never sensitive before, a little less in the places that used to respond instantly. Maybe a longer recovery time. Maybe a strange ache afterward that you told yourself wasn't a big deal. And maybe, just maybe, you brushed it off because you thought, well, I'm getting older. That's just how it is. But let me ask you something. What if those little changes weren't just about age? What if they were quiet messages your body has been trying to send you for years, messages you've been ignoring without even meaning to? Because here's the thing most men don't like to talk about. After 60, even the most private habits you've had your entire life start to affect you in ways you never expected. Not dramatically. Not suddenly. But silently. Gradually. Quietly, until something finally feels off. And you're left wondering, why does this feel different? Why am I more uncomfortable now? Why is this suddenly harder on my body than it used to be? Listen. For men over 60, the truth is simple but rarely spoken. Small habits that felt harmless for decades can create silent strain on your body, especially when it comes to personal pleasure. Not because you're weak. Not because you're doing something wrong. But because your body has changed, your hormones have changed, your skin, your nerves, your heart, your prostate, everything works just a little differently now. Understanding those changes, actually listening to your body instead of dismissing it, can protect you in ways that matter more than you realize. Your long-term comfort. Your confidence. Your peace of mind. Your sense of control over your own body. And that's why today's topic matters, deeply. Because in this video, we're going to uncover 7 silent masturbation mistakes older men often make without even realizing it. Things you've probably been doing for years that now affect you differently. Things you might assume are harmless, but your body disagrees. And the 7th one? It's the one most men never talk about, maybe because it hits a sensitive emotional spot, maybe because it's the one that makes you question yourself the most. But it's the one you absolutely should know. So before we dive in, take 2 seconds and comment, "I'm listening," if you're open to learning more about men's health after 60. That one little comment lets me know you're here for yourself, and you're ready to take back control of your well-being. And while you're here, don't forget to subscribe to Elderly Wisdom Guide. The place where we talk openly, honestly, and respectfully about the real issues older adults face every day. Without judgment, without embarrassment, and without pretending these things don't matter. Because they do. And so do you. Mistake #1, using too much pressure. I want you to picture a man named Robert. He's 68 years old. A strong man. A capable man. Someone who's lived a full life and still tries to hold on to the same familiar routines he's always had. For decades, everything worked exactly as he expected. No pain, no sensitivity, no hesitation. It was simple, predictable, and honestly comforting. But over the past few years, he started noticing something subtle. A tenderness afterward. A faint sting that lingered longer than he wanted to admit. A sort of soreness he never dealt with in his younger years. At first, he brushed it off. Maybe I just slept wrong. Maybe it was a one-time thing. You know the way we all explain things away when we don't want to deal with them. But that tenderness became more frequent. And eventually, it wasn't just tenderness. It was discomfort that stayed. Here's the truth many men don't realize until their body forces them to. As you age, your skin doesn't react the same way it used to. The elasticity changes, the cell structure changes, and the blood vessels beneath the surface become a little more fragile. Not weak, just different. And that difference matters. The same amount of pressure you used decades ago doesn't feel the same anymore, and more importantly, it doesn't affect you the same anymore. A lot of older men think more pressure means more sensation, more intensity. But the reality? Too much pressure can create tiny micro-tears. It can irritate nerve endings. It can strain blood vessels that now need more care than before. Most men never connect the dots, because the discomfort shows up later, not in the moment. So, if you've noticed soreness, a burning feeling, or a dull ache afterward, it might not be age itself, it might be how much force you're using without realizing it. The solution isn't complicated. Gentler techniques, a slower pace, and proper lubrication, something many men ignore because they never needed it in their youth. But your body deserves more kindness now. More patience. More understanding. Because when you treat it gently, it rewards you with comfort instead of pain. And pressure, well, that's just the beginning. Because even if your technique is gentle, there's another silent culprit men overlook without even thinking about it. Mistake #2. Overdoing it in one session. Let me introduce you to Henry. He's 72, full of life, still active, still proud of his independence. And he has this belief that as long as the desire is there, the body should follow. That if he feels good, it means everything is fine. So, when he found himself enjoying longer sessions, he thought nothing of it. Why stop if the moment feels good, right? But later that evening, he noticed a deep ache in his lower abdomen. Not sharp. Not alarming. Just strange. A heaviness he couldn't quite explain. And the next day, the same thing happened again. Here's what many men don't realize until that discomfort becomes routine. After 60, the prostate becomes much more sensitive. The surrounding muscles change. The tissues swell more easily. And long, intense sessions, especially without breaks, can lead to pressure buildup that your younger body would have shrugged off instantly. Some men believe longer means healthier. Longer means stronger. But that's not how it works anymore. Your body now thrives on balance, not excess. It performs best with moderation, not endurance marathons. Because swelling, abdominal tension, and post-session soreness aren't just old age problems, they're signs of strain. But here's the good news. You don't have to stop. You don't have to give up anything. You just have to listen to your body again, the way you did years ago, before life got busy and habits took over. Shorter, more comfortable sessions give the prostate room to relax. They reduce inflammation. And they keep everything functioning smoothly, without the next day aches. It's not about doing less. It's about doing what's right for the body you have today. Now, let's move into a mistake that affects far more older men than anyone wants to admit. Mistake #3, ignoring prostate changes. I want you to imagine something simple. You're in a private moment. Everything feels normal at first. But then, when it comes time for release, something feels different. Not painful. Not alarming. Just different. Maybe it feels less intense than it used to. Maybe it takes longer. Maybe the sensation feels muted, or delayed, or like the pressure isn't building the same way it did for most of your life. And because you're over 60, the first thing you probably tell yourself is, it's just age. Nothing to worry about. But here's the truth. Sometimes it isn't just age. Sometimes it's your prostate quietly telling you it's changing. Most men don't like talking about their prostate. They don't even like thinking about it. But the reality is this, after 60, the prostate naturally enlarges. It's one of the most common changes in an aging man's body. And that enlargement, whether mild or moderate, can affect everything about your experience. The pressure, the speed, the sensation, the intensity. An enlarged prostate can slow down release. It can change the rhythm you've known all your life. And it can leave you feeling unsettled afterward without understanding why. And here's the misconception. Many older men believe that a slow release or weaker sensation is simply part of getting older. But that's not entirely true. Gradual change? Sure. Sudden change? That deserves attention. Your body doesn't switch overnight unless something is shifting inside, and your prostate is one of the first places to check. The advice here is simple but powerful. Pay attention. Notice your patterns. Notice how things feel over time. And if something changes out of nowhere, don't ignore it. A quick conversation with a urologist can give you clarity, comfort, and peace of mind. Because ignoring the prostate doesn't protect you. Understanding it does. Mistake #4, using intimacy as a stress release. Let me tell you about a man named David. He's 65. Recently retired. A man who spent decades working, providing, pushing through responsibilities every single day. But retirement hit him differently. The quiet. The long afternoons. The sudden space where structure used to be. And like many men his age, he started turning to private intimacy not out of desire, but out of loneliness. Out of stress. Out of that restless feeling you can't describe but you feel deep in your chest. It became his escape. His way of filling time. His way of calming his nerves when the house felt too quiet. And on the surface, that sounds harmless, doesn't it? Private, familiar, comforting. But here's what most older men never consider. When you use physical intimacy as your main emotional outlet, your brain starts changing the way it handles stress. Your dopamine patterns shift. Your emotional fatigue increases. And your sleep cycle becomes disrupted without you realizing why. You're not doing anything wrong. You're just depending on one outlet for feelings that require more than one solution. And the misconception many men have is this. If it's private and natural, it can't possibly be harmful. But emotional dependency doesn't show up loudly. It builds quietly. Slowly. Like a habit you never decided to form, but somehow became part of your routine. The healthier approach? Balance it out. Add other outlets for stress. Walk a little more. Stretch your body. Talk to a friend. Join a group. Find small things that remind you you're still living, not just coping. Because when intimacy is a choice, it brings joy. But when it becomes an emotional crutch, it drains you without you noticing. Mistake #5. Using unsafe lubricants or none at all. Many men reach their 60s, 70s, and even 80s still believing that what worked at 25 should work exactly the same today. A 70-year-old man once said, "I've gone all my life without needing lube, why now?" And his question reflects a common belief among older men, a belief that time should not change what they are used to. But the body quietly tells a different story. As we age, the skin becomes thinner, more delicate, and far more sensitive than before. Areas that once tolerated friction now react with irritation, dryness, or micro-tears that go unnoticed at first but lead to discomfort later. Yet many men convince themselves that water, saliva, or random lotions are good enough. But these products can contain alcohol, fragrances, or chemicals that irritate the sensitive skin of older adults, causing inflammation, burning, or infections that could have been avoided. The solution is simple but essential. Choose gentle, body-safe lubricants designed specifically for sensitive skin and older adults. These protect the skin, reduce friction, and keep the experience comfortable rather than painful. And while lubrication may seem like a small detail, the next mistake affects something far more vital, your heart. Mistake #6. Ignoring cardiovascular limits. Stanley, 74, once felt a small tightening in his chest right at the height of his excitement, but he laughed it off, brushed it aside, and told himself it was nothing. Like many older men, he assumed that if he could walk, drive, or climb a few steps, then surely he could handle anything else. But intimate moments place a unique demand on the heart. Heart rate rises. Blood pressure spikes. Breathing becomes faster. Oxygen demand increases quickly. And while the mind may feel youthful, the heart may not be able to keep up with sudden, intense exertion. The misconception is simple. If I can move around during the day, I can handle this too. But intimacy, whether shared with a partner or experienced alone, can push the cardiovascular system harder and faster than expected. The wiser path is paced and mindful. Move slowly. Breathe deeply. Avoid sudden bursts or rapid, strenuous motions. Let your heart warm up and slow down gradually, just like you would before and after any form of exertion. And now, the seventh mistake is the one almost no man talks about, yet it shapes confidence more than all the others combined. Not recognizing delayed recovery. A man in his 60s or 70s may pause one day and quietly wonder why he needs more time before he feels ready again. He may look back at his younger years and question why things don't happen as quickly as they used to. And the silence around this issue often leads to unnecessary fear. But the truth is simple biology. Testosterone naturally declines with age. Nerve sensitivity changes. Blood flow slows. And the pelvic floor muscles, which play a huge role in recovery, gradually weaken over time. Yet many men hold on to the belief that something must be wrong with them. Simply because their body now requires more time, more patience, and more relaxation. Delayed recovery is not a failure. It is not a problem. It is a normal, expected part of aging. The key is support and self-care. Strengthen your pelvic floor with gentle daily exercises. Stay hydrated to support good circulation. Give your body time to reset without pressure or frustration. And embrace the natural rhythm your body now prefers. All of these physical changes can create emotional weight. And that emotional impact is just as real as the physical one. It's not easy to face the truth that your body changes with age, especially in places that feel deeply personal, private, even tied to your sense of masculinity. Many men carry these feelings quietly. They don't talk about the discomfort. They don't mention the worry. They don't admit the confusion. Instead, they push it down, hoping it will disappear on its own. But inside, those emotions build. And sometimes, it feels like you're the only one going through it. The only one noticing the shifts. The only one wondering why things feel different. The only one who doesn't quite know what's normal anymore. What you're feeling is real. And you are not alone. The truth is, millions of older men experience these same changes, but silence makes it seem like no one else does. And that silence often turns normal aging into fear. Fear of decline. Fear of weakness. Fear of losing something that once felt effortless. But here's the part many men never hear. Understanding these changes doesn't limit you, it liberates you. Because when you know what's normal, when you understand what your body is telling you, when you stop treating these changes as failures and start seeing them as simple shifts, you gain something powerful: control. You move from guessing to knowing. From worrying to preparing. From feeling embarrassed to feeling informed. So, if any part of today's message touched a nerve, if you recognize yourself in even one of these mistakes, take a moment today to truly listen to your body. You don't need to overhaul your entire routine. You don't need perfection. Just one small adjustment. One gentler approach. One intentional habit. Because pleasure doesn't disappear with age. It matures. It slows. It deepens. And when handled with awareness, care, and respect for your changing body, intimacy can become more meaningful than ever, calmer, safer, and far more fulfilling than anything rushed or forceful from years past. Your body isn't failing you. It's guiding you. And when you listen, everything begins to make sense. Today, we walked through 7 silent mistakes many older men make without realizing the impact. We explored how pressure affects sensitive aging skin, why long sessions can strain the prostate, how emotional stress plays a role, why lubrication matters more than ever, how the heart responds to excitement, and why slower recovery isn't weakness, but normal physiology. Now I want to hear from you. Which one opened your eyes the most? Which point made you pause and think, yes, that's me? Share your thoughts in the comments. You never know. Your honesty might be exactly what another man needs to feel understood, supported, and less alone in his own journey. And if today's conversation helped you, if it brought clarity, comfort, or reassurance, I invite you to subscribe to Elderly Wisdom Guide, where we talk openly and respectfully about the changes that come with age, without judgment, shame, or fear. Thank you for spending your time with me today. Take care of yourself. Listen to your body. And remember, no matter your age, you deserve health, confidence, and peace in every part of your life.